The usual start, my bewildered look, kind of looking around to see if I have everything set up, and it looks like everything is set up, and we are live for the very first live stream of 2025. Just kind of make sure my windows are just how I want them. Apologize that we're a little bit later than usual. We try to do these lives at noon when we can, but I had to work this morning, so I had to get all the way home and get everything set up and make sure I have my pile of stuff to go through. And it looks like Grimy Fishing's in the chat. Good to see you there. Man, you were in there saying hi before I even had that part of the window ready. Good stuff. How you doing? Have you been out lately? So there's Galen. What up? I'm glad everybody's jumping in. Grime's going to be hopefully today or tomorrow. Awesome. Let us know how you do. For those of you that were here for our December live stream, that went really well. I really probably should have run that longer because we easily could have kept going on that one, probably for another hour or more. And we sat down and we I went through all the stuff that I had been using for trout this season and kind of covered what I had been using, what I've been doing, how I've been kind of doing the rigs. And we talked a little bit about some of the recent videos we put out, like Dave's drop shot rig. And, a big part of my equipment that we went through talking about the trout fishing gear related to that whole drop shot thing that Dave's been doing. If you haven't seen Dave's drop shot for trout video, go watch it. If you've seen it, watch it again. This isn't me, asking for views or anything like that. I gave it a rewatch myself the other day, and I noticed that there were some little tidbits in, the way he was moving, some of the things he mentioned that I had missed my first watch through. And I got more out of that video than I had the first time. And as I had mentioned, I've been kind of doing my own thing with his drop shot technique, where I've kind of changed the rig slightly. I've been doing really well. I haven't been able to get out a whole lot over the 12 days that I had off over the holidays there, which were great to have that time off from work. I only got out 4 times for 4 short morning sessions because I was actually quite sick over the holidays. And I didn't get out as much as I wanted to. However, it was this drop shot technique, my little modification to the drop shot rig based on what Dave's been doing, that has gotten me my fish. Pretty consistently each visit, I've had at least 2 bites. I think I've had a couple of blanks this kind of trout season so far. I think 2 or 3 blanks, but each of those blanks I still had fish on and lost them, because I suck at fishing. We've all talked about that. However, the days that I did get fish in the net, it was very few of them were single fish days. They were usually anywhere from 2 to 4 fish in those sessions. So I think I'm up to like 19 trout so far that I've had since like mid-November with the few sessions that I've got out. And of that 19, I think half have been on this drop shot technique, always using different minnows. I've been trying different rubber minnows on this setup. Some that are more supple, some that have more flash, some that stand out a little bit more in colored water, because I've been fishing clear, I've been fishing colored, heavy windy days, really cold days. A lot of days that you would think that pretty much most places you'd go, there wouldn't be any other anglers. And I would show up to those spots and there'd be a dozen people there. One thing about etiquette for sure that I've seen a few people really not follow into, when you're going to a spot that has kind of like a regular crew, a number of anglers that are there like every day, retirees, whatnot, but a core group of people that are always there every day, that's their social bit for the morning kind of thing. You usually find that they all stand quite close together. They all cast at pretty much the same time. They run their drift the same way. They're all pretty much fishing at the same distance. If you're going to rock up and fish in a spot where that sort of behavior is going on, that kind of group fishing is going on, don't just walk in and step right up next to them and start casting. You need to pay attention to what they're doing and make sure that you, being the new guy, you don't interfere with their flow. And it'll be a lot easier to be kind of welcomed into that kind of inner circle. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been fishing a local harbor, not a place that I normally fish and not a style of fishing I normally do, but I really wanted to fish this drop shot technique. And that's the best place for it. And there's a core group of people there. So to make sure that we can avoid any issues, I went further down the line, like to give myself as much distance as possible from the others, while still kind of being in that right area, that right zone. I made sure that the person standing upstream of me, I'm making sure I get acknowledgement from them before I cast of where their line and their drift is. So if they've just started their drift or they're halfway through it, I'm not going to cast over them and risk drifting into their line from behind, because that would just be wrong. What happens if one of us get a fish? We could screw each other up. It's not good. So there's a certain level of etiquette that has to come into play. And with each session, these guys got to get used to me being there. I fish a lot lighter than they do. They were all fishing like 3/4 to an ounce, maybe an ounce and a quarter. I'm fishing half ounce. So I'm going to drift faster than them. I'm not always going to be touching bottom like they are. And I'm also not fishing as far out. So I've got to make sure that I'm the one being careful because I'm the one interrupting their routine. And you can always tell when you're doing things right and that you're getting a certain level of respect from that group that's always there, being the outsider, is when they come over and start netting your fish and cheering you on because you're catching just as much as they are. That's the sort of thing that you just don't see a lot of these days with people that just kind of show up like, oh, hey, this is where people are catching fish, so I'm just going to walk up and stand right next to somebody shoulder to shoulder and cast over their line. I saw a fair bit of that happen while I was there, and those people very quickly packed up and left because they weren't following those rules of etiquette. Pay attention. Don't interfere with another angler. Don't grab at another guy's net without checking first if they need that help. It's not that your help wouldn't be appreciated. It's that, plain and simple, if I don't know you, and I'm speaking, this particular case happened to me. If I don't know you, I don't know your ability to net a fish. I don't want to run the risk of losing my cool if a fish gets knocked off because you tried to scoop it up. In the heat of a moment, we all know how horrible it is to lose a fish at the net. And then when it's somebody else that does it, you know what? I'd rather struggle a little bit to net my own fish than have some stranger bump one off and then lose my temper on them. Even if I were to come and apologize afterwards, the damage is done, right? So if you want to help somebody by netting their fish for them, ask, hey, do you mind if I net your fish for you? They're either going to be cool with it or they're not. Another part of etiquette is, don't put your gear down on top of someone else's. That's another thing that happened. Actually, the person that just randomly grabbed my net and tried to net my fish without checking first put their rod down on top of mine, my backup rod that I had leaning against my bag, to help. Never said a word to me, never had no interaction with this person. There's just a certain level of etiquette that was missed there by this individual. He tangled up in a few people's lines and tangled my line while I was playing that fish. Then once we got that line out of the way, he put his rod down on top of my other rod, then grabbed my net without checking and went to try and net my fish. And I'm like, if you've already screwed up these other things, I don't want you to net my fish, because if it bumps off, I'm going to snap. And a lot of anglers are like that. Some of us haven't been around for 60 years and, catching 5 or 10 trout a day because we've got all the time in the world to do it. It's, we don't have that luxury. Some of us younger guys, where if I can get 1 trout a year, I'm happier than a pig in muck. I happen to be having a good season, and I'm trying to keep that trend going because I'm kind of getting dialed in and getting a feel for it. I don't want to risk losing one because somebody else wasn't paying attention, sort of thing. And I don't blend well with others most of the time. So there's a certain level of etiquette that, not only am I making an effort to follow, it's the way I grew up and was raised to fish around other people. The younger generation that's coming in now also needs to kind of remember that there's that certain level of old school etiquette that is being missed. And, just kind of pay attention to that. Typically, I love fishing kind of out of the way where other people aren't fishing, because I like to do things differently. And, sometimes that's just not practical. So even I have to go and blend into the crowd. So yeah, just, as you see new anglers coming into certain areas and stuff like that, just remind them, follow some of that old school etiquette. It does go a long way to the anglers that are around you, and you'll be a lot more respected for it. And you get welcomed into that circle of regulars a lot more often when you follow those levels of etiquette. And if you're following that etiquette, giving that angler the space, asking before you offer to net the fish for them. Don't just assume you can do it. Don't put your stuff on other people's gear. Don't cast over people or run your drift a little bit longer, sort of thing. If you're following that etiquette and you're also catching fish, you are a shoo-in with any group you're going to fish around, because you're doing the right thing and you're showing that you have the ability to do what everybody else is trying to do. If you're storming in, not using the etiquette and not catching fish, nobody's going to have any faith in you to step up and try to help you and help you learn. You got to earn that. And you know what? There's no better place to earn that from those old boys that are retired and fish for 2 hours every morning before they go home for a nap. You can learn more in that single 2 hour session with them than you will a month on YouTube. Plain and simple. It's just the way it is. Those old boys, they know every trick in the book, and they've forgotten more than some of us will ever learn. So I just wanted to get that etiquette part out of the way first, because that was something that I really paid attention to over the last couple of weeks fishing. And it's one of those things that sadly we don't see a whole lot of it anymore. And we need to turn that around. Okay, let's get caught back up with who's here in the chat. Tim, good to see you there. Happy New Year to you, as well as everyone else. Galen, couldn't agree more. There's a level of communication that needs to happen. Great to help out, but communication needs to be there. Absolutely. 334 Outdoors. Good to see you there. I will say this for 334 Outdoors. Today is Zane's birthday, my son's birthday. He's 14. I'm not letting him on the live stream because I was expecting you to pop in today, and I don't want you guys talking about Pokemon the whole time. I'm never going to let you guys live that down. You completely commandeered a live stream last summer just talking about Pokemon. It was hilarious. But, today he's got that kind of Pokemon video game stuff on the brain. I wanted to kind of bring him in and kind of have everybody give him a happy birthday, but I knew that you guys would start talking about that, and then fishing would go out the window. Because, I can't just tell him, no, it's not your live stream, it's my live stream. It's his birthday. Kind of got to let him win. You can't worry about them about them winning if you don't let them play. So good to see you in there, and glad I kind of nipped that whole Pokemon chat in the bud. So now that we got that etiquette discussion out of the way and avoided the whole Pokemon thing, obviously we just had the holidays. Russian Fishing 4 at the moment, so not Pokemon on the brain. That's hilarious. That's awesome. We just had the holidays. We just had Christmas, and Christmas is a time to kind of have new gear pop into the house. It's not always my fault. I do have a few new things to kind of go over and look at what we got, because it's obviously still in the boxes and stuff. I got a new bag here that, even though it is Bass Pro Shops, I'm quite impressed with it. So we'll talk about some of this stuff, and like you kind of know like why I have it, what the intention is with it, and then go from there. Bring this over for a second. We'll get into that in just a minute. So first things first. For those of you who have watched the channel for a while, you'll know that thanks to a lot of the guys on the Canadian Carp Society, I kind of got myself hooked on products from a company called Olight. So my headlamp, my little flashlights, the little flashlights I put in my tackle bag, these are like the best flashlights I've ever used. They're absolutely amazing. And there's a big issue where once you start getting Olight products, it's really hard to not keep getting Olight products. Like, how many flashlights do you really need? It's a lot, apparently, because I keep getting them. So I got more Olights. They do a lot of deals on the website a lot. You get free stuff all the time. So sometimes it's for like free with a certain amount purchased, or it's free because it's the holidays sort of thing. And that was the case this past holiday season. And I already had a kit that I wanted, and kind of like the little sail and the big wheel spinny thing that they do kind of gave me a reason to go ahead and get this. So this is kind of like a gift to myself for Christmas. And it was all because they were offering up this. I haven't even opened this up to see this yet, but this is the Olight strip, or O-strip. It's like a strip of LED lights. So this is probably something that I'll like maybe set up in my bivvy or something, carp fishing in the summer. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll put it around my computer screens or something for editing, make it look all funky. I don't know. But I got this free with my order for the kit that they had for the Arcfield Pro and the O-Clip. And my mother's calling me. She should know better. We're live. So, yeah, they offer these individually, but they were also offering them as a kit. And I really wanted this one, and I'll show you why. But this one I found a little bit intriguing. Now, this is the one that I've actually like had out and used. This little bugger blows my mind. So the O-Clip is literally just a tiny little flashlight that has a clip on the back, right? A little USB charging port there. There's a couple little settings. Obviously, just a simple webcam, so you can't see it. But there's a few little settings. It needs to be charged. It's got 3 little lamps in there, and it's very bright, like super bright. just change the setting. There's a red light on there. You know, I'm all about the red light. So this, I was fishing in the Glen over the holidays there, and obviously I wanted to get down there early. It was really dark. And so one thing I hate doing is the weight of a headlamp on your hat. It's always pushing it down. Even my Baton 3 clipped onto my brim, it can weigh it down. And if I want to look around, I trip easily because I've moved my light and I don't see what I'm stepping into. So having this, I clipped this onto the pocket of my jacket. So it was still facing out forward. I turned it on and I walked down into the gorge, all through the Glen into where I was going to be fishing. And this lit everything up perfectly in front of me. I could turn my head, I could move around and not impact any kind of changing light that would throw me off in front. It was absolutely fantastic. So one thing's for sure, this O-clip was definitely a worth. Is there a fly in there? What's going on? This was a worthwhile purchase. I'm actually really blown away at how well this lit up the whole area in front of me without using some like big, super bright direct beam. It was kind of like just good overall light out in front. And like I said, I could move my head without negatively impacting that field of light in front of me. So I could still see everything kind of out of my peripherals without tripping. But I could also, look out to the sides to kind of make sure I was in line with where I wanted to be on the river and such. So for those of you who maybe have been looking at this on the Olight site and haven't purchased it yet, this was worth it. I probably had it on for maybe in around 2 hours, and I didn't drain the battery. Obviously, it could use a charge, but I haven't run this down yet to know what its full level of battery power is. But I'll be doing that probably in the next few weeks whenever I get out next. I'm not sure yet. But I'm very, very impressed with this little guy. Very impressed. So that was definitely a really good purchase. Now, the Arcfield Pro, this one I saw on the Olight site quite some time ago. And I really didn't know what use I would get out of it. But it has two features in it that really kind of sold it on me, because I don't need a standard flashlight. It's super bright, sure. It's got a strobe to it. It's super bright, but I didn't really need another bright light. I have the Baton 3, which is like a crazy, insane bright spotlight. But this has two other settings on it. It's got a green laser and it's got a UV light. So for example, I have some here. I got some ice fishing jigs in here that I bought last year and didn't get to use yet. So switch it to the UV setting and you get a UV light. You get all these kind of charged up. Yeah, you can't see it because it's bright here, but they're glowing. So I can charge all my glow spoons and my glow jigs and stuff like that with the UV light on there. Saves me having to put like a big spotlight on it. Dougie Carp Smasher, good to see you in there. Happy New Year. The other thing that this thing has is that green laser I mentioned. This, I've been seeing people have been using green lasers to freak out waterfowl. So if you got ducks diving on your bait or you're trying to spot out and they're flying in, I've been seeing people are, putting the green laser out at them and it makes them take off. I haven't tried it yet, but if it's working everywhere else that I've been seeing, this is definitely a worthwhile purchase. And because I waited for a deal when it was happening and I got the O-strip free, it worked out that the deal on the Arcfield Pro and the O-clip, I think it was like $96, and I got all three of that just before the holidays. So if you go on the Olight website and you watch for the deals, you're going to get really cool stuff like that at a really good price. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you are also a member of the Canadian Carp Society and you've never purchased from Olight before, there is a code in the benefits package with your membership that for your first purchase with Olight, you can get a discount as long as you're a CCS member. That's only for your first purchase. I had already made my first purchase from them before that benefit came into play, so I never got to utilize that. But for those of you who haven't yet used Olight products, it's worth it. The construction is good. The materials are good. The lights are amazing. I have no limit of good things to say about the Olight products. So there you go. There's your spiel for those. Totally worth it. And hey, if Olight wants to throw some sponsorship our way, we'll take it. But if not, I'm still using the products. Okay, what else we got in here? We got a bunch of stuff in here. I had to stock up on some line and some leader material because of the drop shot fishing I've been doing. So we got some new Raven 6.8 fluorocarbon. And I have a reel here to spool up. This is some 6-pound test P-line clear fluorocarbon coated line. Yeah, I just popped into Peter's Tackle and picked these up because I was starting to run low. But that line is for this reel. Let's see, oh, we got some more in there. Ben, good to see you. Doug, one of those lights as SSF prize. Maybe one day down the road, maybe there'll be a partnership that works out with that. But if it does happen, my goodness, that's a hell of a prize. They really are amazing. Victor, good to see you. Galen uses P-line for ice fishing. I've been using Suffix more and more each year for the different types of fishing I do when I've got to use mono. But for some reason, I do always go back and end up putting at least 1 or 2 reels that I have with P-line. I don't remember ever using the Fluoro Clear yet, though. I may have. But, stopped in at Peter's Tackle to get some because I was low. And I told Angela what I wanted, and she gave me that. So we'll give that a whirl. That's going to go on this little guy, the Shimano Sienna 2500 HG. Now, you get these at Canadian Tire, maybe Walmart. I don't know. It's not what you would call a high-end reel. This is kind of like your low-end I think it was like a $54 reel. When you compare this to what I was using for trout, I was using an old TX 4000 from Shimano that 25 years ago was this reel sitting on the shelves at Canadian Tire. It's like the step down. I think now the new bottom rung ones are FX series instead of TX. And then just above that, usually on the shelf, is the Shimano Sienna. The old ones that I was using, like I said, 25. Some of them are 30 years old. Got as a teenager. That's before anti-reverse was on all reels. It was like on the high-end reels only. Stuff like that. The drag systems weren't that good. But technology's come a long way in the last 20, 25 years. So even the cheaper reels are way better than that older stuff that I was using. So to save on money, and because I'm rough on gear, I don't want to go out and spend $200, $300, $400 on a really nice reel. I have some, Pfluger Supremes and stuff like that are like $100 reels, and they're amazing. But, for trout fishing, I'm out in the freezing cold. I'm dropping these things in the snow and on the ice and in the water sometimes, and then they freeze with the water in them. I can't risk using a super expensive reel or even a moderately expensive reel for my trout fishing just because they're going to get beat up. So my wife got me this one for Christmas. This is going to go on one of my smaller trout rods, or possibly one of my match rods. And then I have a Sienna 4000 that I also got at Christmas that I put onto my trout rod, the 12.5-foot Fenwick. And I'm happy to say that has been landing a bunch of fish. A couple of rainbows, couple of browns with that reel already. The drag has been fantastic. It has anti-reverse, which my trout reel didn't have before because it was so old. So even though it's, a lower end reel, it's heavy. It's not made of the cheaper aluminum components. It's more probably heavy zinc. Believe it or not, for $54, you're getting a really decent reel out of this. So I've been quite pleased with it. And yeah, it's been doing really well. Like I said, I've had a number of steelhead and browns with it. You can't go wrong if you're just a weekend angler that gets out from time to time, or only when you go up to the cottage. You don't need to go spend $100, $150, $200 on a reel. You can spend $54 at your local Canadian Tire just on your way through, or if you have to quickly replace one that's damaged or broke or something like that, or let's say the missus all of a sudden decides that she wants to fish too, so you have to just pick up a cheap rod and reel. You can't go wrong with that. It's definitely a worthwhile choice. I'm quite pleased with the 4000 that I've been using the last couple weeks. I remember the old Siennas, like I said, way back when I had first bought my TX 4000. The old Siennas were like silver, and they had like the 80s style kind of neon lines around the spool. And yeah, they looked a lot fancier back then than now, but it's the same reel. It's still just as good. Siennas are great for the price. All my spinner reels for ice fishing are Siennas, and I have at least 3 for open water fishing. Good choice. That's Galen. Doug went with smaller Okuma runner reels for dead stick ice fishing. Yeah, Okuma, it's not a brand that I really go after. I've not really, I don't want to say I really like the Okuma gear, but I don't really knock it. I do have one Okuma reel here that is a bait runner that Zane uses for his carp fishing. And I bought that off a buddy who used it for years and swore by it, and we've had no problems with it. But I know of people who have had a lot of issues with other Okuma reels. So I kind of stick with the ones that I kind of have always known, the Flugers, the Shimanos. Pretty much all of my reels are either Fluger, Shimano, or Daiwa. It kind of all fits into that core group of those kind of top names over the years, because I know even the low-end ones in their arsenal are worth it. They do the job. So yeah, quite pleased with those reels. What else we got in here? Okay, so I don't think everything is in here because I think I used some of it already. Yeah, I think I used one of them already. I put an order in to a company called Lunker Hunt. I'm sure some of you lure guys have seen their gear, whether it be Canadian Tire, your local tackle shop, or even online, Bass Pro Shop, something like that. I was using a package of the Lunker Hunt bento minnows. They're rubber minnows that somebody had bought for me. It was in like a basket of tackle or something that somebody got for me once upon a time. And I've been using them for, on and off every now and then. When, if I wanted to try that whole drop shot technique with their bento minnows, and I had a rainbow with it. So I was quite happy. So I thought I'd go on the website and see what other soft plastics they have, because you guys all know I'm a sucker for new soft plastics. Which reminds me, the Angler's Choice ones we've already caught tons of trout on over the last couple of years. The Bam Baits ones are the ones that I have to try next. The Nishine minnows, Dave and I are absolutely crushing on those because they're the Nishine minnows. Like, if it's got that name on it, it's top quality. The Bam Baits minnows I have to try the next time I'm out. But Anyway, side point. I did an order from Lunker Hunt, and I was actually blown away at how fast I got it. So even though it's a company out of the States, they must have, I think they have a warehouse in like Mississauga or something like that. I had this stuff in like 48 hours. And I put in an order to get free shipping, because we all do. And I got a few things that kind of relate to what I've been doing. And then a few things kind of with the plan of ice fishing and open water fishing in the spring. So these are one size. I have another size that are already in the tackle bag because I've been using them. But they have this walking drop shot and live bait sinker. These are 1/4 ounce. They got kind of a slight angle to them, but they're drop shots, so they got that pinchy swivel at the top. These are 1/4 ounce, and I also bought a couple packs of 1/2 ounce, and that's what I've actually been fishing with under the drop shot. So when I was using my heavy bait cast rod, the big Fenwick 10.5 foot casting rod, you would have saw me using that in the brown trout video or in the birthday session video. I was fishing 1/4 ounce tube jigs with that, and it handled it just fine, which is why I bought 1/4 ounce. I'll probably use the 1/4 ounce more on the river, but fishing the harbor, I was using 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce. But I found that using 1/2 ounce with the casting rod was just a little bit too light, which seems really weird because if I use it with a 1/4 ounce, it's perfect. If I use it with 3/4 ounce, it was just a little bit on the heavy side, but 1/2 ounce just didn't seem to feel right. So I was using 1/2 ounce with the spinning rods, my 12.5 foot Fenwick and my 10-foot Riversider. That 1/2 ounce seemed to be perfect with the spinning rods. So that's what I've been using, and I got 2 packs of those, 2 packs of the 1/4 ounce, and it turns out that this is the perfect lead to use that drop shot technique. I was using pencil leads, and if I have to use a heavier one, I will still use the 3/4 ounce pencil leads. But these walking drop shot sinkers have been perfect. They're really small, so even though I'm fishing this high off of them, I was worried that the larger lead was more visible to the trout. I've definitely been getting more bites using the smaller one. Another side note to that, I've been noticing that if I'm fishing relatively close to the lead, I've been catching the browns. If I fish higher up off the lead, as much as say 24 inches, that's when I'm getting the rainbows. Not sure why. I haven't really put too much analysis into that, but that's what's been happening. What else we got here? Much stuff. All right, got some jig heads here. These are 1/4 ounce and 1/8 ounce on a 3/0 and a 4/0 hook, because you never have enough jig heads. Got like a nice, looks like the 1/8 ounce have like a matte black and the 1/4 ounce have a gloss black. But because I'm using a lot of soft plastics, needed some jig heads. I've got my tube jig heads that we went over on the last live stream. Obviously, with the drop shot technique, I'm not using jig head at all. I'm using some of the Raven Specialist and Raven Octopus hooks, as well as some of the bait holder hooks. I think those were Mustads. But I want to go do some other fishing that I can do a little bit with trout, but more for another species. And I need these kind of heads that obviously go in from the front. I can't go into too much detail about that. I've already said too much. But I needed these for that, and hopefully that works and we get another video out of it, because if we do, you guys are going to love it. What else? So I got these for ice fishing. I haven't even opened these yet. They're little bait jars of the Maybug, like little soft plastic bugs. They have a bunch of these little bait jars on the site with a bunch of different little soft plastics in them. But I got these specifically for ice fishing, and then in the spring for some pan fishing, crappies and whatnot. Put the Avengers through the ringer. Love the smaller version for ice fishing and shore fishing for Lakers, etc. The Avengers are Okumas, right? So as far as soft plastics go, I also did order another package of the bento minnows. I think they were the white ones with like the reflective holographic thing in the middle. So those are already in the tackle bag. But then I got these because I have a feeling that when that water gets gin clear down in the whirlpool, this is going to be what gets me the rainbows. I saw these and I had to get them. They're 3.5-inch Hellgrammites in green pumpkin. Soft plastic Hellgrammites. Can you imagine that drifted under a float over a couple rocks where there's a steelhead? I don't think they'll resist this. Had to get this when I saw that. Big Fish Angler Chad and I, when we were younger, tying our own flies, he really got a good knack for tying a Hellgrammite fly. And he had so many fish with that, it was ridiculous. And then when we fished Brawny Creek and we actually found Hellgrammites and stuff under the rocks, or any kind of longer bug that looked like a Hellgrammite, drift that under a float, boom, fish. Soft plastic Hellgrammites, yes please. Okay, this is another one for ice fishing. This is it's a 1-ounce weighted lure, obviously for vertical jigging. If it does say what specifically it is, I don't see it. It's kind of like just almost like a lipless crankbait, but really neat little finish to it, like a natural kind of shad type finish. I know I'm going to catch on that through the ice just about anywhere I take it. So grab that, and then grab 2 of these, because once we get kind of out of the really cold part of winter and into the spring, I like to start swinging minnow, like hard-bodied minnow baits, like small husky jerks, bomber long A's, things like that. I like to drift them on a 3-way rig with a lead. I like to drift them in the flow for trout, especially the trout we get in our river here in the Niagara. There's some really, really big rainbows that come up in the spring. All of my biggest rainbows have been in the spring, and 2 out of the 3 biggest I've had have been on minnow baits, kind of just swinging them in the current. So this is the Lunker Hut Distress 6F. I got 2 different colors. Does it say the color? One is Silverside and one is Sassy. They're floating little minnow baits, floating jerk baits. But man, those in the spring in the Niagara River, I'm going to have Lakers going after them. I'm going to have rainbows going after them. Once it gets even warmer, I know the pike and the muskie will go after these. So I'm quite excited about those. I'll throw these back in the box. But yeah, that's a little bit of a lunker hunt haul that I did that order myself. And then I want to say much to my surprise, but it wasn't my surprise because I kind of set this up. What do we got here? Victor. I don't know anything about ice fishing because I don't do it with the fear of water. I don't go out on the water or on a boat. Completely understandable. Ice fishing can be incredibly dangerous. I saw a video earlier today of somebody that went out on the ice. They started fishing, and then the ice from shore broke up. There was about a 30-foot span of just open water, and they were panicking. They had no way to get back because they had drifted out into the lake because they didn't have the patience to wait for it to actually be safe, which is what happens a lot of the time. We see more and more. Every year, more and more incidents of rescues being required because people just aren't waiting until the ice is safe. It's just stupid. Just because you can walk on it doesn't mean it's frozen all the way out where you need it to be. Just be patient. We'll get safe ice at some point. So speaking of ice fishing, I bought a bunch of ice fishing stuff we went over in the live streams last winter, and I never got out on the ice last year. I saw this, And I thought, ooh, I kind of like the idea of that. I think it was on the Canadian Tire website, and I was looking up something else, like a tool or something. And I think it was looking up like bolt cutters, because I needed a pair of bolt cutters. And I was like, well, I'm on the site, I might as well look at the fishing gear. And I saw this little item, and then I was like, ooh, that's intriguing, and it's a good price. Let me see if it's at my local store. And it wasn't actually at any of the stores in the Niagara region at the time that I looked at it on the site. So then I thought to myself, well, my mother was asking me what she could get me for Christmas. So I looked up her local store way up in Trenton in Belleville area. And I thought, they have some in stock. So I just copied the link and I sent it to my mother. And I'm like, hey, if you're still looking for Christmas ideas, here's a suggestion. And sure enough, ta-da! This is also from Lunker Hunt. This is the ice gift box that was available through Canadian Tire, apparently. There's a bunch of cool things in it. It says it's over $60 in retail value, and I think it's only like a $30 purchase. So there's a bunch of different things that it lists here of like what could be in here. I have opened it once because I wanted to be nosy and see what was in here. So right off the bat, the first thing you do when you open it, there's a Lunker Hunt sticker, and then a Lunker Hunt $10 coupon gift card. I won't show it the other way because I don't want you to get my code. This would have been nice to have before I did that purchase because I could have saved myself $10. But anyway, this is all stuff just for ice fishing, and I'm super stoked because I want to use it all. So here's another one of those little bait jars. This is the wax worms. They kind of have that weird look to them. Oh, I think they glow. Look at that. Man, do they glow. Okay, so I got some glow-in-the-dark wax worm soft plastics. That's wicked. They're still glowing really well, actually. What do we got here? Magic Bean. Did I got the same kind of finish? No. Well, that does glow too, actually. Magic Bean. So it's just like a teardrop thing with a treble hook and a little Colorado blade on the back for some flash. What do we got here? Little tungsten teardrop. Apparently this is glow as well. I'm not going to just make everything glow because I'll spend all my time playing with that new flashlight. So a little tungsten jig. The Lunker blade. So this is like the old cicadas, little blade baits. I got a few spots that if I can get on the ice, I think that'll be really good. So that Magic Bean, that's like a smaller version of this. This is the Big Eye Tailspin, 1/4 ounce. So it's a heavier kind of like jigging bait with a much bigger Colorado blade. That'll be good. The Micro Spoon, a little jigging spoon with some hackles on the hook. What's that? What is it? Oh, it's like a neck gaiter kind of thing. Yeah, so like put it up over your neck and your face. I don't really wear those, but obviously if there's like cold winds or really bright sun, that could be handy. That's a cool haul. I didn't even see that in there the first time I looked in there. I guess I was too busy looking at all the jigs. So yeah, I got quite a bit of Lunker Hunt stuff this year. I can't wait to put it all to the test, but I'm quite pleased with it because the few things from Lunker Hunt that I've used in the past have been really good. Those bean lures, a Simcoe Perch Slayer. That's good. If I go to Simcoe this year, I kind of want to. If I'm going to Simcoe this year, the only way it's going to happen is if Andrew from Actually Andrew Fishing gives me the text and says, okay, the ice to the lake trout, the burbot, and the whitefish is safe. If he calls and tells me that, I'll go to Simcoe. If I don't get that message from him this year, I'm not going to Simcoe. I've been talking with Doug. Doug told me about a location that he's going to check out. So I might go there and join him for a day. I'm waiting for the local ice around here. You know, the pike spot, we did a bunch of videos a few years ago. That's been frozen over the last couple of days, maybe a week or so. But it's warm out today, so I don't know if it's going to melt or not. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But I would love to get back out for some pike. Some of the local harbors around here, they freeze up, and you can get an absolute mixed bag for perch, panfish, pike, trout. Like, I've had largemouth bass through the ice in some of these spots. So I kind of would like to get out on the ice this year because I didn't last year. Obviously, I have a lot of new stuff from last year and this year that I haven't been able to use yet. So, yeah, looking forward to at least a couple of hard water sessions. And obviously, over the next month and a half, hopefully I can really get to kind of go out and have a couple of adventures. Burbot are so cool to me. I've never landed one. I don't even know if I've ever hooked one. And watching Actually Andrew's videos, I was intrigued. And we had arrangements. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. We had arrangements for me to go up. I had the time booked off. He had the time booked off. We didn't get safe ice. So it didn't happen. So I'm still waiting. When he tells me that there's safe ice in those spots, we're going to set up a chance to go and he's going to put me on a spot where I can catch my first whitefish and my first burbot. So just stay tuned for that. If we get safe ice and I can get up there during that time, we're going to go up there and shoot a video. Which I can't even tell you how excited I am at the prospect of catching fish that I've never caught before. So wired for that. What do we got here? So this, yes. This is a little bit of a Temu haul. You guys know that when I get like my anti-tangle sleeves and my quick link swivels and stuff like that for carp fishing, I get all that from like AliExpress or Wish or Temu because I buy it in bulk. So I'll get 100 quick link swivels for like $5 rather than spending $6 or $7 for 10. Right? So I got a few things from Temu because you get it in bulk and you get it cheap. Craig Cook, anybody been out carp fishing lately? I have not been out for carp since October. I know Dave was trying to get a snow carp really bad the last couple weeks leading up to the holidays. I don't know if he's had one yet. I know he did lose one at the net. I don't know if he's had one in yet. Any of you other guys been out for carp lately? I haven't been doing my winter carp thing like I normally do pretty much every year because I'm kind of like in a trout mode and I'm really enjoying getting back into my trout fishing. It's not to say I won't do a carp session soon, but I haven't been out. What about the rest of you? If your weather wouldn't quit being drunk on my lawn, you might get out there. Yeah. Dave, good afternoon. What do we got here? I haven't actually looked at all this. And you guys know that my memory sucks, so quite often I order things and then it shows up and I completely forgot that I ordered it. What do we got here? I need to start having a knife available to get into these things. Oh my God. Tape like this could like hold buildings together. Holy crap. Okay, so there's a little packet of looks like jig heads with blades attached. So there's two reasons for these. reason number one is if I wanted to use some bigger baits for ice fishing, I can. These are kind of like road runners. I have some that I showed you guys last year. You can put like a soft plastic twister tail or minnow bait. Got a shaped jig head with a little blade below it. So these are partly, some of them are going to be for ice fishing, and some of these are going to be for that other kind of fishing that I had jig heads for that I didn't tell you about, that I'm not going to tell you about till it happens. So that's what those are for. I got a variety of colors in there. All of Tim's spots are freezing up, so he's been trying for carp but hasn't had them. It's a shame. Okay, what do we got here? Package of... Aha. There's 3 in here? There is 3 in here. Okay, so these go with something else. So for any of you guys that have seen like the fly fishermen, they have those little tippet holders where they can put the little spools of their tippet on here and just kind of clip this onto their vest. I got 3 of these for like $7. Little bungee in there with a carabiner. I guess I could have just made this out of aluminum tubes myself, but 3 of them for $7. So that kind of goes with this. I wasn't expecting this to be in a big case. So my plan is, you got these little foam things with the pins for wrapping like your rigs and tippets and stuff around. I'm going to make holes in these big enough to go over that tube. And these drop shot rigs that I've been using, they're kind of a pain in the butt to tie in the manner that I've been using them, differently from the way Dave does. I mentioned it in the last live stream. I kind of tie what's called a twizzled boom, but I also had to change the knot in how it attaches to the hook for everything to be more direct and less tangle free, where the twizzle is less likely to come undone. So when we did the last live stream, I talked about that, how the twizzle was coming undone when I was playing fish. You know, I'd get 2 or 3 fish and then it wouldn't be twisted anymore. So the rigidity of that boom section on the drop shot wasn't there anymore. So the rig kind of becomes pointless. Changing the knot to the hook made all the difference in the world, keeps the rigidity in that little boom section. But trying to tie it when I'm out there is a real pain in the ass. So I've been tying 2 or 3 of them, load them into the bag, and then if I lose any of the snags or break-offs, I can just quickly tie the next one on. It might be easier if I can tie them, wrap around this, and have them tangled up and stashed into a little compartment in my case. So I didn't realize that it was going to come in a whole little case like this, but I can pre-tie a bunch of rigs, just drill a little hole through these foam things, and have the rigs kind of pinned and set up on this, just tied to the side of my bag. That way, if I lose one, or one has a slightly different hook, let's say I need to scale down the hook or a lighter line, I'll have them all marked and set up so that I can quickly interchange without too much hassle. And if I really need to, I think I threw it in the other box, I have like 4 or 5 different spools of that Raven fluorocarbon leader material. I got another one I can put all that on one of these as well, instead of digging for it. Okay, so these are just split rings because I need split rings. These 2 items go together. I don't know if I can single one of these out. The last couple years, if you guys have seen the videos that Dave has been doing with his trout fishing, he was experimenting with the little clevis and a blade above his minnow bait as he's been drifting it under a float. I think he's even done this with his little drop shot setup. So I went and I picked up a bulk bag of the little clevises. I think this is a bag of like 50 that was like $2. And then I wanted to experiment with the blade styles. So there's 2 different styles of Indiana blades that look like they've got like an engraved finish, and then 3 different sizes of willow leaves. that I can just clip onto those clevises, or I can use a split ring to the clevis with these to get a little bit more movement. Yeah, another tactic that's learned from the University of Dave. I have to try it. He's been catching a lot of fish doing it. I have to try it, whether it be under the float or bottom bouncing or what have you. A little clevis and a blade seems to have caught him a few extra fish on those tough days. So I'm going to give it a whirl. And then this guy. Okay. So this needs to be assembled. So this is something that you'd use for like soldering electronics. It's a magnifying glass on a base, then it's got the little arms that come up with little alligator clips for holding things. I didn't get it for that. I don't tinker with electronics, but my eyesight sucks, and I'm getting back into fly tying. Oh, it's got a little light on it too. Maybe I can plug that in. I'll have to figure that out. Maybe it needs batteries or something. So I've been recently tying some flies again, and I was tying some streamers, and I was having trouble seeing them. I've been really struggling tying knots lately as well. So because I'm going to be pre-tying rigs and tying some flies again, the magnifying glass is obviously going to help with that. I'm just setting this up in front of my tying vise. And I've been loading up on new fly tying materials as well, but they're all over there kind of set up in use. So this little thing is kind of have the magnifying glass to see what I'm doing. The little alligator clips on the arms to kind of help hold some of the tools and stuff out of the way and make it all kind of super easy for me to do. So yeah, that's just something I need because I'm getting old. Let's see here. Can you give a shout out to Nicola Cook? Yes. Here's a shout out to Nicola Cook. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you're getting out fishing. And I hope that if you are, you absolutely, totally outfish Craig. That would be awesome. And if you do go and outfish Craig, shoot us a picture on our Instagram. We'll post it and say, hey, look, Nicola Cook just caught this fish and Craig didn't. That a good enough shout out for you? The best shout outs are always when there's a little shot or a little dig thrown in there at somebody else. Yeah, Nicola, hope you have a great day, and I hope the season's going well for you. So other than the bag, I think I've kind of gone through all the new stuff. It's heavy because all my gear's in it. So all the gear we talked about in the last live stream related to the trout fishing I've been doing is in there. The bag I was using is my old Plano backpack that really didn't quite fit things properly. I could get it all in there, but it certainly wasn't efficient. And I've been searching around for a proper backpack that kind of had the pockets the way I need it so that I could efficiently grab things that I need when I need it and not have to move a bunch of other things out of the way. I was looking at bags from LL Bean, Patagonia, a few other, kind of name brand. Sims, I think, was another one. And none of the bags that I could see were quite what I wanted. The LL Bean one was the closest. It was like $300. I'm sorry, I'm not going to spend $300 on a backpack. The next ones I was looking at were like big hiking bags. I only want something that's between like 35 and 45 liter in size. When I went to some of the sites like Military First and stuff like that, where they had like big actual like hiking packs and military bags that certainly could have done the job, but they're like 66 liters or 80 liters. They're much bigger bags, which is way more than I wanted for size. And even though they had a lot of pockets, their main compartment, everything would still be just jammed together. My son and I were at Bass Pro Shops. You know, I'm somebody who always says, like, always throw your money at the smaller shops first, the mom and pop shops, before you go to the big box stores. Absolutely. Still stand by that. But every now and then you just have to, the one thing you're going to be looking for is only at the box store. It just so happened that we were in there just looking around, killing some time on I think it was a Sunday afternoon. Might have been Saturday, because I think I used it on Sunday. Yeah, just killing some time. And we walked in. I wanted to see the fish in the big tank and stuff like that. I wanted to look at the ice fishing huts that they had set up. Some of the ones we walked into were just ridiculous. How I could drive my van into one of them. It was ridiculous. Why? Who would want to have to peg that bastard down on the ice? You'd only use it if you're going to spend like a week in it. It was massive. And it was like a fold up one. It was like a triple hub style. It's just insane. But as we're walking around looking at things, I stumbled across this bag. It had the Bass Pro Shops brand on it, which, I'm not a huge fan of, but I'll get a patch to cover that, maybe a Raven patch or something. But I saw it and it caught my eye because it's the right color. I wanted like a green or a gray or something like that, so that when I have it out, it kind of blends in with my brownish colored gear that I wear for trout. So when I'm around the rocks, I don't have any kind of like bright colors or anything really noticeable standing out. So if I'm fishing clear water, my gear isn't kind of giving me away as I'm standing on the bank. And I noticed, it had a small side pocket, a big side pocket on both sides. There's lots of little spots to clip things on, so I can use these carabiners and probably make that work. Yeah, clip that on like that. There is a little piece that goes onto here. It clips on and it can hold your pliers and such. There's more clip-on points in this webbing here. And I thought, okay. So the initial look definitely ticks the boxes as far as the pockets go. So now let's actually take a look at the pockets. So the top section is actually separate from the bottom section, which makes this exactly what I was looking for. Now, I would say if you get the chance, kind of wait for some sales. I think we got this on a Boxing Day sale. I think the ticket price for it is like $149. Construction-wise, the zippers aren't spectacular. I'm not surprised. However, this genuinely is exactly what I was looking for. There's even little clip-on straps with more of that webbing on the side, top and bottom, and I've actually been taking my fold-up stool and tying it into there. But when we go into the top section, there's a little clear pocket in here. So, like, if you're one of those people that always has your license on you, but it's never actually in your wallet, you put it in there. There's a little mesh pocket up here. I have like a balaclava up there from when I was fishing in the heavy winds. There's little kind of elasticated mesh pockets at the back of this top section, and it's deep. The bottom of the pocket is, finger length down. I have a bottle of water. I've been putting my snacks and all my camera gear is in the top here, right? So I got the little DJI camera. I got the chest mounted brace. I got a spare spool of line. Oh, it's 8 pound. Oh, okay. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really realize I had this. And then I have one of my old Canon cameras, some extra batteries, some charging cables. All that fits in there. And you can see there's still actually some space in there. So you get yourself a sausage and egg McMuffin in the morning on the way to fishing. Put it up with the camera gear. Then, as we get down to the lower section, all those cases that I talked about in the last live stream, my school of 4 pound test. So my bag for soft plastics. Oh, There's those Lunker Hunt bento minnows I was talking about that came in that order. All that's in here in this lower section, all stacked up neatly. My Gamakatsu case, my hooks and swivels, my marabou jigs. I think these are what's the brand of that? It's like super realistic, hyper realistic. They make crankbaits and they make soft plastics. I had one of those, tried it, had a rainbow with it. These are very rigid, but they had a lot of flash in the colored water. There's my case for my pencil leads, my slinky leads, a couple streamer flies. So everything kind of stacks up in here neatly and can be put right back into its place with minimal effort and zips back up good. And I did try filming one of the days I was out fishing the harbor. Nobody else was around. I had the place to myself, so I didn't have to worry about really interfering with anybody else's fishing. One of the neat things I was able to do is just kind of, this is where the zipper kind of get on my nerve. It kind of zips ahead on itself. I'll tinker with that later. But with the heavy winds I had, I was able to set the camera up so it was just kind of sitting right there looking out the side. And I was able to film myself while I was fishing. I didn't catch anything that day. That was the day I lost 2 fish. But this blocked it from the wind. It wasn't sitting out in the open. It actually kind of preserved some of its own heat in this little space. Made the battery last longer. I think I filmed for 4 hours. They were excruciating because I lost 2 fish. But this actually became really handy in a lot of different ways. And the nice thing is I can clip a lot of things onto it. Like I said, I've been putting my stool on the one side. You know, I could always clip a second rod onto the side if I wanted to. There's just a lot of features here. I can clip an unhooking mat onto one of these and just kind of roll it out in front for where I'm putting the fish down. So, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that I found this where I did. But it turns out that I forgot to take my row bags out and put them in the fridge. There was one day that I did use row bags because the minnow bite just wasn't happening, and I had 2 fish on the row bags, one on pink, one on green. Those need to go in the fridge. I can smell them. That's just my leader material in there. My little funky cutters that I got from Nathan Cutler. They're like split ring pliers, cutters, puller tool, like everything. These are like the ultimate little multi-tool for fishing. And they stay in my trout bag. I use them constantly. Yeah, good, decent straps, really good padding on the back here, like really thick padding. Little cross strap to go across the chest when it's a little bit heavier. So, yeah, you know, it's Bass Pro Shops brand, so obviously it was just some cheap thing that they got in China. But it absolutely ticked every box that I needed it to for my trout gear. It also sits upright. So the way it's set up, it always sits that way. Whereas my other bags would always lay down. The way stuff was always set up inside of them, they kind of got shuffled around. You're pulling things out, the whole thing falls over. Or you have to open the full front to get access to it. This, I can access what compartment and what gear I need at any given time without interfering with anything else. It stays upright so I can keep my extra rod leaned up against it. I can lean my net against it. Another handy thing, if you take one of these top pockets, you pull the stuff out of it. You can just keep the top open like that. It's a perfect coffee holder. It actually held that just fine when you don't have a cup holder, because putting it on the cold concrete where I was fishing was making my coffee go cold super fast, and I wasn't down with that. Started doing that, it didn't get cold as fast, so it was great. So yeah, a few new things over the holidays. You know, like I said, a Christmas haul, a few things that I picked up. but mostly kind of related to the trout fishing we've been doing. Some of the trout fishing I plan to do. And the jig heads are for another species that probably in the next, I don't think I'm fishing this weekend or next weekend, but after that, I'm going to revisit. I'm revisiting what we did in an old video in hopes of recreating or bettering that situation. And if I can get it to work, I think it'll do something great. So that's what that's for. All in all, you can see that most of these things are for the sake of efficiency, being a little bit more streamlined and being more practical and more deliberate with what I'm doing. Fishing the way I've been fishing with that drop shot technique, I've been almost exclusively doing that unless there just absolutely is nothing touching the minnow baits. Then, like I said, I switched to the row bags and I was catching fish. That's what everybody else there is using. It'd be silly not to be prepared to switch that if need be. And when you're watching all the bigger fish come out to row bags and you're not getting even a little touch on a minnow bite, throw the row bag out. I had 2 fish right away doing that on, I think it was just before the New Year's Day. I had a blank. And then New Year's Day, I went out and I got a brown trout for my first fish of the year. So yeah, just make sure you're adapting. You're prepared for other things, but stick to your guns. If you know what you're doing is going to work, do it. And I've been doing that with this drop shot idea that Dave had, and I've done so unbelievably well with it. Like if you guys look back at our old trout videos over the last 10 years, you're lucky to see me land more than 1 trout a season. Like I said, this year I'm up to 19, just in maybe 8 sessions, no, not even 8, 6 or 7 sessions. And it's just been unreal. And a big part of it has to do with, again, like I said, the University of Dave. He's pushing the envelope. He's doing different things that other people aren't doing, which is absolutely 100% the way I like to fish. You know, you get a group of 20 people in a line all doing the same thing, and sure, they're catching a few fish. You rock up and do something completely different and outfish all of them. There's just an amazing feeling that comes with that. That bag looks great, John. I hate nothing more than not being able to find things I need for fishing situation, knowing I packed it somewhere. Exactly. That's why it's the biggest problem I have with all the carp bags that I have. Galen, you definitely have seen firsthand in some of the private chats we've had or on the CCS site. Like every spring, I dump out my carp bags, and there's usually enough equipment that I dump out from the bottom of the bag that could last the average person the entire season. And that's just the stuff that got thrown in the bottom that I completely forgot I had, and I went and bought new stuff. It's just insane how easily a bag can be disorganized. And like, in all fairness, I should get another one of these for carp fishing, because this is set up exactly how I want it to be set up. Like if you would have said to me 3 weeks ago, what do you want in a bag? My description would have been this bag. And the fact that I found it where I found it, yeah, it's kind of irritating, but it's been out a few times with me now. Like I said, I only had short little 3-hour sessions that I could kind of get out over the holidays, because after 3 hours, I was either way too cold or my congestion was just too bad and I couldn't stay out. It's kind of hard to fight a cold when you're not in bed, right? But I had to get out fishing for my time off, which, wasn't the smartest move, but I was catching fish, and having everything in such an efficient layout made it so much better. Oh, I broke off that jig, reach in the bottom compartment, pull out the one case that has a couple of tube jigs in it that are already put together. So I've been doing prep at home to avoid doing it on the bank, and then I just reach in, grab what I need, where it is, done. It saved me so much downtime where before I would, get caught up in finding stuff and tying a rig and doing everything right there on the bank. You can lose enough time to take 10 drifts doing that. Having things kind of set up and efficiently placed, I might lose 2 drifts. So I'm maximizing my fishing time, and it makes a big difference. Where you found it doesn't matter as long as it does what you need it to do. You're right. But again, like I said, I'm not somebody that's really big on the whole box store idea. I would have loved to find a bag like this at, Peter's Tackle or Grimsby Tackle or something like that. But I didn't. They just don't have the buying power to carry stuff like this all the time like the big box stores do. And it just happened to work out in my favor. But yeah, quite pleased with that. I did also get the extended handle for my net, bought direct from Lucky Strike, the Lucky Strike website. I couldn't find the handle I needed in any of the shops, even the box stores. Found an 8-foot extension handle to add onto my net so that I could fish off the wall the way I have been. Absolutely perfect. So big thanks to Angela at Peter's Tackle. She's the one that told me to go there and check. Found it, good price, shipped to me super fast. I was really, really happy with that, using that. What do we got? Hour and 20 minutes. Does anybody else have any other questions related to fishing in general? But, like I said, specifically since I've been trout fishing the most lately, if you have any trout fishing questions for the kind of related to what I've been doing, I might be able to help out with that. Otherwise, we're probably going to wrap this up pretty soon because, like I said, it's Zane's birthday today. I gotta be a good dad and spend time with him, which means we're going to go eat cake and get fatter. I think it's pizza and cake today for his birthday. Oh, that reminds me. I got his birthday presents down here, and I haven't wrapped them yet. So I still got to do that. But, thank you all, joining us for yet another live stream, a whole new year. And really thank you all for how last year went, especially the last half of it. It was just unbelievable with the progress that the channel's made. From December 27th to today, we have gone up 54 subscribers just in the past 2 weeks. It's been absolutely insane. The videos have done really well, and we've gone up in views. We've never had a run of subscribers grow that fast like we have the last 2 weeks. So thank you all. I see your question there, Galen. So you all know that I was using the Canon Vixia cameras for years. We've talked about that in previous lives and previous videos. But I mentioned this a couple times so far. I got this in September. This is the DJI Osmo Action 3. And the reason I went with the 3... Oh, look, you guys can see your chat there. The reason I went with the 3 is because this one is advertised as the one that's best suited to handle cold weather. I fish all year long. The Niagara River in the wintertime, chasing trout, gets super cold. When I did my winter carp fishing, it's super cold. I needed a camera that can handle the cold. And the Canons, the batteries are exposed, right? The batteries are out on the back of it. So quite often we'd have to put like a nice wool hat over the camera to just keep it from getting too cold and losing battery power. So far, I've had this out in really cold, like -10, -12, without the wind chill. Then you add the wind chill, and it's like -15, -20. Had this out a couple times. Like I said, I blanked with the last one where it was like 4 hours out in that cold, heavy wind. And this did not lose battery power at all. Like I still had a good, I think I burned through 2 batteries in 4 hours. So 2 hours per battery pretty much in cold temperatures. For any action camera, let alone any camera overall, I was quite pleased. And this shoots in 4K. I started looking at DJI after talking with Paul Choka, who was, we all know from Team Carp, who just had like the most amazing video come out with his just insane big fish session. So, DJI, their Osmo Action goes up to, I think, number 5 so far. Each one has something different to offer, but the 3 is kind of more suited for good battery life in cold weather. They're right. It's been fantastic. It is waterproof up to, I think, 16 meters, and that's it. So I can put this underwater for like releasing or landing fish. I haven't yet, but I have had it out in the rain and some pretty decent snow with no issues. Like I said, the footage is great. There's so many features on this camera that I haven't actually had time to learn them all yet. I did have one incident in October. I had a 31-pound carp that I was trying to film. The fight, everything on the bank with it. Turns out that I hit the slow-mo mode on it, and the whole thing was shot in slow motion, which is crap because it was a big fish, and it was a big fish that I was really happy about with the circumstances around me catching it. And then everything in the footage was slow motion. But the slow motion footage, if that was what I was after, looked incredible. So I need to learn a bit more about the features of this camera because it's absolutely insane. Like a thick book of features, really. Like I've watched probably 10 YouTube videos talking about them, and I still can't wrap my head around what it has to offer. But like if I want to do a nice close-up look at a fish in slow motion, this is the camera to do it with. Like it's absolutely unreal. So I'm way more than pleased with this. Most likely going to get another one. They do have the Osmo Pocket cameras. The most recent version has a screen on it similar to this that can go vertical or horizontal, whether you're shooting for social media or the same stuff that we do for like YouTube. They're probably almost triple the price of one of these. So I'm really not sure if I want to go that route or stick with these. The Pockets have little gimbals on the top. I imagine they're similar to the gimbals that they have for their phone, like that you can use with your phones. I have one of the old gimbals for your phone, and that's got like tracking, so I can set it in place and put my phone in it to record using my phone. And if I move like this, it actually tracks itself to follow me. I think the Pockets might have that feature in it, but yeah, I'm gonna be moving more of our camera equipment away from Canon and more to the DJI route. Match fishing is basically what I bought that camera initially for, and I have filmed everything that I've done since then with it. There's been a number of sessions I've been out and filmed since September that I either didn't catch anything or I was kind of hanging out with friends and it seemed pointless to worry about the footage. So I've actually used that a lot, and the footage has never been seen. Some of it's just been deleted before I even had a chance to put it in the camera because I didn't need to keep it. But everything I've done with that, the battery life has blown me away. The image quality, blown me away. The efficiency and ease of use, blown me away. It's got voice control. I can turn on a voice feature, set it up over in a standby mode, and just yell out, start recording, and it will just start recording for me. So I don't even have to be like physically turning it on. It's just ready to go. So I'm super, super impressed with that camera. And most likely, like I said, going to get a second one later in the season and get back to kind of covering multiple angles. Because using the Canons and the one Sony that I have, sometimes it's a real pain in the butt to kind of put all these different camera angles together. But it makes for more interesting views on the videos. But, you know, everything we've done with this has now been in 4K. Eating the hell out of my hard drives. I think the birthday session video, well, we shot hours of footage with that day. It was like 178 gigs of footage that we brought home, and the final video was still like 48 gigs for the final video. So it's massive, massive files to eat away at my hard drive, but the picture quality is there. Like if you actually go into the birthday session video and you look at when I get my second lake trout, if you look to my right, you actually see the float lift up off the water and start pulling in when that fish hits it. You might not see it on like a little cell phone, but if you put it up on your big screen TV, you will actually see the float start to lift up because I was moving it up out of the current, and it goes back down because the fish bites while I was moving it. It's amazing the stuff that this is picking up in low to medium light. I can't imagine what this is going to be like in the summertime when I have bright sunshine. My wife got me a GoPro 13 Black for Christmas. I'm stoked to use it. I was really interested in the 4K 120 FPS for underwater filming. 4K film on YouTube is so crisp. Absolutely it is. Yeah, I won't be going with GoPro myself. You know, I took my time and really looked at a comparison of all the action cameras that are out there. There's a lot of them that are like, you know, get this because it's as good or better than GoPro for a fraction of the price, blah, 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 with some of these other ones. And I've used some of the other, knockoff brand action cameras. And that's what actually got us into some problems with some footage, where some of the videos we shot we couldn't use because we shot them with the cheaper action cameras that we've used for years that have always been great. And now they don't really work with the up-to-date software that we have, or they're just older cameras and the files are not that great anymore. So it came time that I needed a good action camera anyways for that wider field of view. So like I said, I bought it specifically to do the match fishing. So when I have a 16-meter pole out in front of me, I can have that camera kind of set beside. You still see me, you still see the pole, you see all the action that's happening, but I don't have to have the camera 20 feet away to be able to capture all that like I do with the Canons. I can literally have that right beside me and do voice control or just quickly push the button and it's ready to go, and it has a wider field of view. It just turned out that, oh my goodness, this camera has worked out perfectly for so many other things that I'm in love with it. Absolutely in love with it. And it packs up so small. I just use my little small rig tripods. I've wrapped them around tree branches, like fence posts and things like that. I can use it anywhere, absolutely anywhere. It's been fantastic. So yeah, the 4K footage of the stuff that I'm shooting with this is going to continue. The stuff that Dave is shooting is still in HD. He may upgrade to one of these cameras down the road. We'll see. I did discuss that with him recently. The stuff he's got, he's still using some GoPros and his phone and stuff like that, and he's still getting good quality footage with all that. So we're going to stick with that for now. But as in terms of like the stuff that I'm shooting, yeah, we're upgrading. The Canons were great for the past 10 years. It's time to go to the next step. As far as new sessions coming up, not sure yet, but most likely it's going to be trout for me. I do want to go out and try some rudd fishing. The Niagara River is really good. You can find a school of rudd in the wintertime, man. it's nothing to catch 10 or 12 3 and 4 pound rudd. It'd be awesome. And I'm really looking forward to that with some of the lighter match gear. So that's hopefully coming soon. Looking to get on the ice. Gonna be doing some more trout fishing. We do have, for those of you that are like, okay, yeah, you guys are posting a lot of trout stuff right now. Where's the carp stuff? We have a whole carp series that we're working on that we like shot over the last 2 winters. It just needs to be edited into each episode. So we do have carp content coming. I basically need a week to sit down and just edit because I got so much to go through. So yeah, we got a lot more stuff coming out. Dave's most recent video, pocket water fishing. If you haven't watch that one already as well. He just had one of those red letter sessions of a couple hours. He got onto the right spot with the right bait and smacked a couple of really good quality fish. And that's kind of all it takes. Just find a nice looking piece of water, stick to your guns, and it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. So yeah, the response we've had from the last few trout videos we did, the drop shot video, the birthday session, the pocket water video, thank you all. It's been fantastic. We love seeing the comments, the interactions. Again, as always, thanks for joining me in the live stream. Love seeing you guys here. You know, it's nice to see you join in there with us, Craig Cook, and you know, another shout out to Nicola. Good to see you guys in there. Doug, Galen, Tim, Grimy, 334 Outdoors, all you guys, Victor. You know, I'm so glad you guys are here month after month after month. I really appreciate it. Let's, you know, kind of keep these going. When I can do these on the bank, I'm not sure. I do still have something to figure out. Apparently, I can use that camera to do live streams direct to YouTube. I'm going to try and figure that out because if I can, oh my God, it's going to be awesome. But for now, I'm going to wrap this up. It's Zayner's birthday. I'm going to go hang out with him. I'm going to put my row bags in the fridge because they've been in the bag for a week. And maybe do a live from the ice. Doug, if the ice is safe and we can work out where I can get down there, as long as I've got a signal there, we can certainly try doing a live from the ice. I would love to do that. So you keep me updated. I'll let you know what I can work out because it's been years since I fished that lake, like over 20 years since I fished that lake. I wouldn't mind going back. So you keep me posted. But again, thank you all for joining me. Happy New Year to all of you. Let's all have an amazing 2025 season. Whatever it is you're chasing, whether it be carp, bass, pike, trout, muskie, walleye, anything. Have the best season possible. Just have at it. Do your best. Take the time to learn what you need to learn. Keep that etiquette in mind around other anglers. It's so important. And, you know, even I forget it from time to time, and fishing the way I have been really brought it back into my mind of how important it is, especially nowadays. So, you know, let's all just kind of help one another, even if it's not in the way of like, hey, this is where I'm fishing, this is what I'm doing. Just help one another in terms of, hey, keep that line of communication open. Do you need help netting your fish? Hey, you know what? I've just had 3 fish in this drift. You haven't caught anything. Want to switch? You know, something that simple can absolutely change a person's day and their outlook on things. Best of luck to you all. Any of you guys, again, as usual, if you guys do get out fishing, you get some cool capture, shoot us a message in our Instagram, and we'd love to put the pictures up on our Instagram and share them of our followers. It would be fantastic. You know, those of you who've kind of keep an eye on our Instagram, you'll see that Tim's big grass carp was on there. People loved that picture. People absolutely loved that picture. So yeah, let's keep that in mind. If you guys are getting great captures, we'd love to post them. That way I don't have to keep scrolling through to see what Grimey's catching on his posts. I can actually put some on ours of him as well. So yeah, thank you all for joining me again for January's live stream. I'm going to go take care of some birthday stuff, and I may have this shirt on, but I'm still wearing all my dirty work clothes. I need to get changed, and hope you all have an amazing month. Keep in touch. Let us know what's going on and how you're doing. I will do the same. And yeah, we got more videos coming. So all of you, take care.